Picture this for a second. Dark, heavy skies hanging over ancient Israel, and there's a lone woman sitting on this completely barren rock. Above her, bodies are hanging, and she's just clutching a piece of torn cloth while birds circle endlessly overhead. It's a heavy image, right? Well, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking one of the most haunting, emotional, and frankly overlooked moments in all of ancient text. We're talking about a woman named Rizpah and the unexplained, absolutely unimaginable sacrifice she made that literally changed a nation. Let's get into it.
I really want you to stop and think about the sheer reality of the question we're asking today. What kind of love stays when everyone else walks away? I mean, what kind of mother sleeps on a freezing cold rock directly underneath the dead bodies of her own children for months on end? No shelter, no comfort, no answers from above, just raw, unfiltered grief. Most of us, right, we'd collapse or just run as far away from this nightmare as possible. But Rizpah didn't. To understand how she even ended up on this rock and why her story matters so much to us today, we've got to look at what actually triggered the whole tragedy.
Section 1. The Famine and Blood Guilt. Okay, let's dive right into this backstory, which is recorded in the ancient text of 2 Samuel chapter 21. See, at this point in time, the nation of Israel was suffering on a scale that's really hard to wrap our heads around. This wasn't just, a bad dry season, it was a devastating national and ecological emergency.
3 years, 3 relentless years of famine. To put that into perspective, imagine 3 straight years where the rain just flat out refuses to come. Crops are withering up, children are crying from starvation, and families are entirely desperate. So naturally, the people start asking this terrifying question: why has God turned away from us? This silence was deafening, and it finally pushed King David to seek the Lord for some kind of answer to this endless drought. Well, the answer David got revealed a hidden spiritual cause for all this physical suffering. God essentially tells him there was blood guilt on Saul and his house. Now, what does that mean? Basically, years earlier, a former king, Saul, had broken a sacred covenant with a group called the Gibeonites. An oath made before God had been violently violated. So the entire nation was paying the severe consequences of a broken promise. King David goes straight to the Gibeonites and asks them, okay, what do I need to do to make this right? And their demand? They didn't want a massive financial payout. Look at this comparison here. They demanded a horrifying geopolitical trade: 7 lives for justice. Specifically, 7 descendants of Saul. And the cost? Well, among those chosen to pay this massive debt were Rizpah's 2 innocent sons. Imagine being that mother, getting the news that your kids are being taken away to face a brutal judgment for someone else's mistake from years ago. The personal cost she was forced to pay is absolutely unimaginable.
Section 2. The Unthinkable Execution. This brings us to a chapter of the story defined entirely by public shame. You see, the execution of these 7 descendants wasn't swept under the rug or done in the shadows. It was a complete spectacle, orchestrated right at the start of the harvest season on a silent hilltop.
Public shame, public suffering, public death. We really need to slow down and emphasize this. These executions were completely merciless, and the humiliation was the entire point. They were hung on a hill for absolutely everyone to see. And the text tells us that after it was over, the crowds just dispersed. Everyone walked away, went back to their normal lives, and the hill was totally abandoned. Everyone left except for Rizpah.
Section 3. The Mother on the Rock. This is the exact moment where the narrative shifts from this brutal political execution to a breathtaking display of maternal devotion. Like I said, most people would just disappear into their despair. But Rizpah? She does the totally unexpected. She gathers sackcloth, spreads it out on a massive rock right beneath the bodies, and she stays.
Now, what's really interesting about this timeline here is the sheer endurance it took. Look at this. From the beginning of the harvest through the scorching summer, enduring relentless night attacks, all the way until the pouring rain. That is a span of months. Through the blistering summer heat, she held her ground. By day, she's literally fighting off scavenging birds trying to desecrate the bodies. By night, she's fending off wild animals. She sat through the smell of death, the physical exhaustion, the profound loneliness, standing as a solitary guard as the seasons brutally passed by.
Why put herself through that? Well, because faithfulness is refusing to leave the rock even when hope seems dead and heaven feels silent. Rizpah totally redefines faithfulness for us here. We often think of faithfulness as something loud or victorious in the eyes of the world, but sometimes it looks exactly like this: just refusing to leave your rock. If you're currently grieving a loss, or fighting for your family, or just waiting in a really long season of silence, Rizpah's agonizing vigil is such a powerful lesson in the strength of simply holding your ground.
Section 4. A king is moved. Because eventually, people start talking. Her quiet faithfulness couldn't go unnoticed forever. Word of this solitary, grieving woman fighting off beasts on a dark hill eventually made its way from that desolate rock all the way to the royal palace in Jerusalem. Look at how these steps build on each other. Step 1. Rizpah stays on the rock. She doesn't give a grand speech, she doesn't lead an army. Step 2. Word reaches King David and it shakes him deeply. Step 3. This silent mother moves the most powerful man in the nation to act. David goes, gathers the bones of Saul, Jonathan, and the 7 sons, and finally gives them a proper, dignified burial. Honor replaces shame. And only then do we get to step 4. Heaven sends the rain.
So, the crucial point is captured right here. After that, God answered prayer in behalf of the land. Notice those first 2 words, after that. After Rizpah's unbelievable sacrifice. After the mourning was recognized. After the dead were actually treated with dignity. Only then did the heavens finally open up, ending the 3-year famine. It's wild. A silent mother moved a king, and a king's action moved heaven. Section 5, the power of sacrificial love. You really have to ask, why is this deeply unsettling, haunting story even recorded in ancient scripture in the first place? It's there because it serves as this profound mirror, reflecting the ultimate nature of love.
It's a love that stays when everyone else flees. A love that fights the scavengers in the dark. A love that mourns openly, and a love that flat out refuses to give up. The text doesn't try to sugarcoat the ugly reality of grief. The tears are real, the loss is incredibly real. And honestly, this story of public shame and sacrificial love on a hill, it points directly forward to another hill centuries later, to Jesus on the cross, enduring public shame for humanity's restoration, and to Mary, another mother, standing vigil beneath her son. It brings perfectly to mind that timeless truth from Psalm 34. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Rizpah was completely crushed in spirit. Actually, scratch that. She didn't just hit rock bottom. She lived on it for months. Yet, it was from that very rock that redemption for the entire land was set into motion. So I want to ask you directly, as we wrap up this explainer, are you sitting on your own rock right now? Maybe you've been sitting there for a really long time, praying, waiting, grieving a loss that literally no one else seems to understand. Maybe you're fighting silent battles in the dark, and you feel completely forgotten by God and by everyone else around you.
Rizpah's story is your reminder that God sees the people everyone else walks right past. He sees the tears that nobody else notices. Your quiet faithfulness matters, even in the deafening silence, because sometimes the prayers that move heaven are the ones spoken without any words at all. If this idea of being seen in your lowest moment really resonated with you today, do me a favor and drop a comment below saying God sees my pain. Because it's true, heaven is so much closer to your tears than you think. Keep holding your ground.